Welcome in everybody to Girl, How'd You Get That Gig? As you can see, we're missing a key member, my co-host Celeste Gehring, who is on assignment. But it kind of made sense because the guest I have today is quite special. And as you're all aware, we're in the month of May, which means we're celebrating our mothers for Mother's Day. And this guest is my mom. Yay! Now before she talks, so she's gonna say, "Why did you want me on this show? I didn't play sports. I didn't work in sports." And that's actually exactly why I wanted you all to hear from her. Because if we forget how things used to be, then we cannot see the progress, one that we've made or know where we still need to go. And so my mom has a very unique perspective of growing up not that long ago, really, in a time before Title IX and in a time when sports weren't offered to girls. So, Mama Kristine, Chris, known by most, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Well, thank you. All right. So, let's just start with where I was as to, what was the scene like for girls and sports when you were growing up? You were born in 1952. So, give us an idea of what it was like when you were a kid and the sports scene for girls.
Well, when you asked me to do this, I did a little research. I
Shocker.
got up in the top of my closet and got some yearbooks down,
Yeah.
and we called them annuals at the time because your dad and I kind of thought our high school had sports for girls, like for tennis or something, but no, they didn't.
They didn't.
No,
No,
I
no
got the
teams.
yearbook out, and it's really interesting. There were several things that came to mind for me. The sports pages were all boys and their teams,
Dad.
and
It
then
was
there were
dad, dad,
dad.
dad,
Dad
dad.
was on there. Yeah, I married an athlete, and so they um, they had two pages that was called girls sports, and it was our PE class.
Oh, lovely.
And they had a picture of someone doing archery, which I don't remember ever doing, and then field hockey.
Okay.
And but it was just our
Yeah.
PE class, and we're in PE clothes, and we got two
Yeah.
pages. So that was our sports. I was active, and I
Right.
was a
You're a cheerleader.
cheerleader. So
Uh-huh.
there were a couple of pages, and we had a big squad. We had varsity cheerleaders, and then what we called B cheerleaders, which were like JV. And then there were poms and flags. And I think flags were only varsity. So it was a big group. But this is what I noticed. It's really interesting. Um, when the boys played sports, everything was provided. For
Right.
football, even shoes. And today, your children, they have to contribute, they have to pay. And
My
so
children don't even have buses.
I know. And so everything was provided. So this tax money for schools was all going to the boys. The
Shocker.
cheerleaders, which was the only thing we had, they did provide buses for us. We were responsible for selecting or making and paying for our uniforms.
Wow. The school did not provide a budget for your
No,
uniforms?
they did
I
not
don't
pay
think
for it.
I
My
knew
grandmother made
that.
our
I
skirts.
was wondering if you made it because you sewed.
One year, my grandmother made all five of our cheerleader skirts.
Oh,
So there was no tax money going to girls. Of
the
course, this is
girls
before Title IX.
to even
So
support activities for girls, let alone
we
sports,
had
right?
clubs,
Mm,
and towards the end of high school, the GAA, Girls Athletic Association, was a club,
mm.
and I had one girlfriend who was really active and wanted to play, but I'm not sure who they played. I think they just played each other because it was just at school after school. And I
Like
think
pick
they
up.
just played softball.
Yeah,
I'm
it must.
not sure because I didn't join it. So
Okay, so with that said, that those were the times. So sometimes we just accept that those were the times and we're not questioning things. But I was curious if you were ever envious of the boys? Did you feel that did you feel an unfairness at that
No,
time?
no.
Not at all.
That's
So
just how it is. That's how I grown. And it's just like having women as athletes, women in public office. If you don't see it, you can't dream it. You
yeah,
really need
you don't
those
know it's possible.
people in for someone to look at to
Do
say,
you
"Gee, I could do that."
do you remember a female athlete in your era that made headlines or that made national news that you might have looked up to or thought, well, that's interesting. I haven't seen that.
Okay, first of all, I didn't grow up in an athletic family. Even
Oh,
my brother didn't play little league or anything, and my dad didn't watch sports, so there wasn't much sports in my household. But I do remember in 1968, so this is the end of my high school career, um, Peggy Fleming
yeah, ice skating.
and ice skating and the Olympics. Big
Mm-hmm.
time. And that was kind of opening the door. 68 on, then
Tennis
72
started to have
is
some big names too.
Olga Corbett in 72, and Nadia Comaneci in 76.
Gymnastics.
Of course,
Hmm.
that's ice skating and gymnastics, which were considered women's
Well,
sports.
they were definitely a more feminine type of sport. There was
Yes,
performance and dance and makeup and
yes,
I mean all of that. I
yes,
mean, I fully remember Dorothy Hamill. I mean, she became famous as
absolutely.
an athlete,. But she became famous for her haircut. I mean,
Yes, and I
that
tried. I had it mine cut, and
yeah,
it
I
didn't
remember.
work.
You had the Dorothy
It
Hamill cut.
didn't
I
work.
remember.
It was very frustrating.
Keep it curled under
Um,
her perfectly for when she did her spin. Remember, it would be like a top that would,
yes,
yeah, open
it was
up.
great. She's
Yeah.
still great.
So that kind of answers a little bit, but maybe we can expand on when you really started noticing more opportunities for girls in sports. I mean, clearly you saw it happen with me, but like as we're going, Title IX passes in
Okay, big
72.
time.
Yeah.
73, Billie Jean King and
Yep.
Bobby Riggs. So, I mean, she's quite established as a tennis star. So that had to have started earlier. I just wasn't aware
You
of it.
weren't aware of it.
And,
Yeah.
and there is a caveat here. I meet women now my age who went to private school, a girls' private school, and they did play sports.
Hmm.
So it was
So there isn't,
available in private girls' schools. I went to a public school.
yeah.
And I
Well,
and
that
I don't know. I was in Southern California, maybe someplace else. They were doing it.
right. This is where you were, at the time that
Yes.
you were there, this is the area that you were in. So, I mean, it's really interesting. My mom and I are 21 years apart. So, really a true generation, but right on the cusp of that, right? We're very close in age. And I always tease that we're going to live in the old people's home together. And
No,
so,
you have a bedroom in your house on the
yeah,
ground floor.
you're
That's
gonna
where
come
I'm
here.
gonna go.
Okay. But then when I'm too old, we're probably going to be roommates
Yeah,
because
then
there's,
we'll be
yeah.
in trouble.
All right. But you really have in your span from 1952 when you were born to today in 2026, you've seen so much evolve. And I think it's really, really important. I just talked to my class at Sonoma State about this the other day because we were in debating topics and politics came up. And I think the younger generation, and I certainly felt that way when I was younger, you want immediate change. You want to see it change right now. It's not fair. Let's change it. And that's kind of not how change happens in our society. It's over time. But a lot has changed. Obviously, we're focusing on sports, but I think it's really important for context for people to know about women's rights when you were growing up. My mom couldn't get a credit card without my dad's signature. But you were also like, you're of this era. You were watching bras be burned, as you mentioned, Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. Gloria Steinem emerged as a women's rights leader. So, what were you experiencing through this movement of women having enough and finding their voices?
I think my
You
life
were
is
you were a
different.
mom, so yeah.
Yeah, I had children very young. I was married very young. So I was kind of pushed into a role that was appropriate. I'm very, very lucky I married your dad because he wanted me to be as independent as possible. And that wasn't real popular at that time period for a married woman. I mean,
Yeah.
um, there were a lot of times when a woman got married and then she didn't go on to school or anything once she got married. And your father was real supportive of me going
He
on to
encouraged
school.
it. He encouraged
Yes,
it.
he
Yeah.
really pushed me because
Hmm.
it was I had a lot on my plate, and so but he encouraged me to do that.
Well,
It
and
just
you
took me a
just
long time.
yeah, yeah, well, but you just shared with me recently, I didn't realize that you were so excited when I started school because that meant you could take more school. Like you had a longer
Yes.
time frame because until I started kindergarten, you were kind of piecemealing courses together to add it up. Why do you think dad is so progressive? What do you think it is about dad? Because he's from the same era. I think my grandparents, his parents were pretty conservative in their traditional roles. I don't think grandma ever put gas in her car, stuff like that. Like they had their roles.
Hmm.
So why do you
I
think
think your
dad get
father didn't want to be married to a boring person, and if if he's
well,
going to get
he
in,
definitely checked that box off. You're not boring.
he had if he was going to be well educated, he understood that marriage isn't going to last very long unless you have some equality
Right.
there,
And
and
challenge and be challenged within that with
yes,
each other and yeah,
so
push each
yeah,
other.
for sure, because I didn't get that from my family.
Although dad did try to push you athletically, and that didn't work out so well. Still to this day, I know there was jogging involved at some point. I know there was tennis involved at some point,
I've
and
played golf.
most recently golf, but you have not played in a while because I think you
No,
don't really
I
like
gave
playing with
my
dad.
clubs away. After I broke my ankle, I gave my clubs away. It was an excuse not to play.
Yeah.
Um, no, but what do I do? I'm yoga,
Yoga,
I
walk.
walk. Those are the, well, first of all, I'm not competitive. That's not my personality. Yoga is not competitive. I guess there are some women there who are looking at others and saying, oh, gee, they can do this. But yoga traditionally is not competitive. It's do what you can do.
Do you
Um,
think you would have been competitive if you had more opportunities to try to be competitive with sports?
I
Or
don't
do
think
you
it's
just
in
think
my nature.
you're wired that way? That's
No,
how you're wired.
I was a teacher. My my thrill is helping somebody else reach their potential. I am competitive with myself.
Yeah.
I always want to do the best I can, or if not better, I always want to improve. I like to learn new things, and that pushes you back to being a
I was going to say,
beginner.
I think you're competitive educationally, very. Like you were always trying to know more, push yourself.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I want to master things. And because I didn't have any skill training in sports as a young person, it's much harder to learn that as an older
Hmm.
person. And so it gets frustrating if you
Yeah.
can't master it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to be really good at it, and you're
Yeah.
not going to be right away.
Right.
But I was attracted to yoga, and I didn't start yoga until I was 50 years old,
Hmm.
but I've worked with the same yogi for a long time, and she's all about do what's right for your body.
Right.
And so you push yourself a little bit at a time to try to get better. But it's helped me so much with injuries that I've had. It's helped me
Flexibility.
really. And I first started because I thought at 50 years old, I want to be able to tie my shoes when I'm 80.
Because that I don't want to do that. So you need to keep working on that. Because I'm not going to be able to either, Mom. I'm only
No, I
26
think
years
I
old.
will. I think I can tie my
Yeah.
shoes. Your
Yeah.
dad may not be able. He's the athlete, but he's the one
I
with a
know.
lot of,
Well, that's the thing. We've done a lot of damage to our bodies in
yeah.
impactful sports. Okay, let's talk about me.
Okay.
So, when did you realize I wanted to play sports and how did you feel about it?
You're you were lucky to have a dad who's very athletic and who loves sports. It's he's competitive, that's where you get it, but he also just loves the design of sports and games. And then you had a brother who was quite a bit older, 4.5 years older. So he was playing. So your dad was great at taking you to practices,
I was
letting you
always
throw the ball, run after
I
the
was
ball.
always in every drill.
And
Yeah.
he would come back from practice and he'd say, "She's a natural. She really wants to play." And I'll never forget watching you learn to skate and roller skate, and you're in front of the house on the
On
sidewalk,
the
and you
sidewalk.
would fall and you'd get back up, and you would fall and you'd get back up. Unlike your brother, who, when he was young, if he fell, he didn't want to do it anymore. Kind of like your son, doesn't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't too
Um,
fun. Yeah.
so you were just a natural, and you were very active. You always wanted to be moving. You wanted a bike. That's the thing. I had one bike that was used when I was a kid that I rode some, never rode it to school or anything. Girls didn't ride bikes to school. Absolutely not. Boys did, but girls
Wow.
never did.
Wow.
And then I had a used bike when we lived on campus so I could get around with Mike on the back. I'd put him in the seat on the back. That's all I've ever had. And neither one of them had gears. I never had a bike with gears or anything. So
Man, that makes hills very hard.
you wanted to ride bikes. You just really wanted it, and you had a dad who could have been, well, no, that's not for girls because of the generation we came from, but he never felt that way. He was
No,
really
I don't. Yeah. I actually, what I remember, and you and Dad always say that I embellish and remember things very
yeah, you
differently,
do.
but here's what I remember, so you can correct me. Uh, I remember that soccer and softball were offered to me when I was young. That's all I remember having offered to me. I don't remember basketball. I don't remember volleyball, field hockey, lacrosse. Today it's flag football for girls. That's all I remember was soccer and softball, but that was where I started too. So maybe that's all I remember. But I don't know why you decided to coach, and you coached our team for
Oh, well,
years.
first of all, I hadn't finished my degree, but I was aiming towards teaching. So I had teaching skills. And I'll never forget. Well, now they start really young. We moved to Petaluma in 1975, and this game was everywhere. We didn't know anything about soccer. We never saw soccer growing up. Your dad never played it. We didn't know anything about it. But the whole town was about soccer,
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
And so Mike started playing. He was about 7. And then when it came time for you to play what they called under eights, you
Hmm.
could start at 6. And
Hmm.
you said you wanted to play, and Mike was playing. But then at the dinner table, you said, "Well, of course, I'm not going to play if it's muddy." And I said, "Okay, well,
I
we'll wait
did.
a year."
I don't
So,
want to get dirty.
so you didn't start to play until 7, which, being an educator, I believe that's the right age.
Probably better.
I don't
Yeah.
think they should be playing at 4 and 5 years old. I think you burn kids out. And it's the same thing with teaching. There's a lot of educational theory. Yves Piaget from France first developed it, is at 7 years old, most children are ready to learn to read.
Hmm.
If they start earlier because they love it and
Yeah.
gravitate to it, do it. But
Right.
it shouldn't be forced on them
Don't
at
worry if
7.
they're not reading, at
Right.
5.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah.
And so I really believe 7 was the right age. Well, so we signed you up. There were no coaches,
Hmm.
no coaches. And so it's all girls. Now I think they do co-ed, don't they, for the young ones?
The littles, I think so. But I coached Gracie pretty little and it was all girls.
And so this was all girls. So there were no coaches. So I said, well, I guess I,
Like,
I
how
saw
hard
it
could
as a
this be?
teaching teamwork and kids together and stuff. So
So
I'd been watching
you
Mike
approached it more
play.
as a teacher? Did you approach it more as a teacher than a coach?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I had watched Mike play, so I knew the rules, and but I'll never forget. You guys were little and trying to get you to focus. So we had two lineups, offenses, strawberry shortcake, which was this doll that was real popular.
Oh, we if you were born in the 70s, you know strawberry
Strawberry
shortcake. Yeah.
shortcake. And I
Yeah.
forget that lineup. And the other one was called Five Stars, and that was with five forwards I had. I think there was only like, I don't think you had nine at that
It's pretty
age.
strategic, Mom, that you had two offenses. I don't
Yeah, I had
remember
those
that.
two. And so all I would say was, okay, five star or strawberry
Strawberry
shortcake, and
shortcake.
they'd know where to go.
Strawberry
But
shortcake.
I'll never forget, it's mirror image, and you're standing on this wing, this right wing probably, and the girl from the other
Yeah.
team is posing you, and she said, "Is this left?" And you looked right at her. No, this is right. Because it's mirror
It's very
image. And the
that's very
girl goes
confident.
running, crying. She thought, oh, I'm in the wrong place.
No, you're wrong.
So then, after I'd coached a couple of years, it became obvious there were so many kids playing and so many teams and trying to get new fields. We didn't have enough refs.
Hmm.
So Mike by that time was about 12. And
Hmm.
so he and I took the ref course together. So I coached you for about 5 years and I ref for about three. And I did not like refing.
People yell at you.
They do, they yell at you and stuff, but
I know.
I
And the kids are
appreciated
like
when the
8.
ref showed up at my game
Sure,
so
sure.
I could play. So I ref for 3 years.
Yeah. It's a very difficult position to be in, especially
But when you
in
said
this
there
town.
was only soccer and
Softball,
softball, but Mike only had soccer and, oh no, he had CYO
basketball. He
basketball.
had basketball.
He had CYO basketball too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. And probably thinking about it, I mean, that's all I knew. I don't know what was actually offered, and I don't know if we had done a deep dive back then. Maybe there was more.
Well,
But
they weren't really club sports.
no, there's not.
It went from one to the
I
next.
think there might have been travel soccer because it was so big in this
It may have
town.
been starting. And
But yeah.
I forgot to say in the 60s, the late 60s, when I was in high school, in summer, there started a girls' softball league of some sort
Mm.
because your dad got the job to mark the fields and ump it.
Oh,
But they were young, like
yeah,
maybe fourth grade.
little.
So it was like little league
Kind
age,
of
like
was
9 to
starting.
12, something
Yeah.
like that. So that was just starting.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a question that Celeste wanted to ask you, but she couldn't be here. What was it like watching Amy play sports?
Um,
Be nice.
it was fun. It was very fun. I think I can count on one hand the number of games I missed.
Oh yeah, I don't remember you
I
missing a
I,
game.
I worked. I had my own company, and I would conveniently be busy when there was a
I have a
game.
client at 5 o'clock today. Yeah.
So, yeah, I I had difficulty with your competitiveness. It
Oh.
seemed foreign to me. I didn't understand it. I don't understand it. And but your dad
Like it makes you uncomfortable or
sometimes, yes. Well,
how
certainly if
so?
you're
Like
gonna, get in a
fight
fight with
someone?
somebody, it makes me really uncomfortable.
Mom, that's when you got to jump in and help me out.
Yeah. Because when I coached, of course they were little. I coached until 11 years old, maybe, or 12. It was all about teamwork. And I tried to take the ball hogs and learn and teach them how not to be a ball hog. And it was
Yeah.
all about teamwork. And I loved it when you were into teamwork. You sometimes were on a team where you were much better than the other kids, and that was very hard for you. and hard for all of us. There were times, especially in high school, I wish you'd been on a really good volleyball team and you weren't, because
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of felt some of your skills were being wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And and also, if you're really a lot better than the other kids, there's a chance of getting injured, I
Mm-hmm.
think, much more so because you don't have the support of the team to take it over. Um, I think the fact that I was at every game strengthened our relationship. You knew I supported it. I also made sure both you and your brother knew how to wash your uniform because you had 2 games a week and you had to learn to use the washing
Yeah.
machine in case I
Yeah.
couldn't get a load in and you had to wash your own clothes. I
Yeah.
think those were wonderful skills. I think working in a team sport is wonderful skills. I got that as a cheerleader some, but otherwise, no, I didn't have that opportunity working on a team.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really beneficial. It gives you leadership skills. But I think competitiveness, and not that I think it's bad, it's just something I can't relate to strongly, but your
Yeah.
dad could. And that's what's made your relationship with your dad really strong. He understands that.
Mm-hmm. What was it like then watching your granddaughter play?
Well,
Was it
Gracie
different?
plays differently than you. When she was younger, she kind of gave up at times. Like if she, well, first of all, she did gymnastics for a long time and was
Mm-hmm.
excellent at that. And that prevented her from playing some other sports.
Mm-hmm.
So then when she jump into indoor soccer or something like that, she wasn't as good because
She also doesn't like contact.
no, yeah.
I didn't mind contact. She's not a
And I
big
don't like
contact person.
contact either.
Yeah.
So
You guys are missing out.
so when she got really good at one sport, which was volleyball, I loved watching her play because she did not play with any kind of anger. She played with joy. She
Oh, are
just
you saying I played
really,
with anger?
you played with anger very often. And Grace did not.
What do
Grace
you think I was
played
angry
with joy.
about?
I think that's just a competitive nature. I remember watching your dad pitch in high school, and he's smart aleck that he threw this pitch and the ump called a strike. I think he had several balls and they called a strike. And he's on the mound and he's going like this, yay, he finally called a strike or something like that. I mean, he let anger sometimes overtake him when he was younger. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when he
So,
played as an older person, he had fun. It was
yeah,
just
you
about
learn to
fun.
enjoy
And
it more.
Grace
Yeah.
just played with joy.
Hmm.
So I loved watching her play. And when you try to make me get angry or real competitive as a fan, you'd say, "Oh, come on, Mom, just say kill him or something." I
Yeah,
couldn't do that.
yeah, you can. I think it's in you.
I don't think so. I
What
can't
do
do
you
that.
think sports provided for me in my life? And how do you think it's kind of played a background for me, like a role in my life? Clearly, it's contributed to what I ended up doing for a living as a sports reporter. But, all these statistics of like girls who play sports have a better chance of graduating from high school and to go on to college, and they are more confident. And like, did you see any of that develop in me as an adult? And do you attribute any of those characteristics that I have today to having played sports?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Time management, commitment,
Mm,
focus,
mm,
all of those things are so important. And also, you learn to take care of your body
mm-hmm,
and you learn body confidence.
mm-hmm.
I mean, girls who play sports aren't the ones always covering up and moving around. I mean, they know what their body can do and that they have control over it a certain amount, as much
Yeah,
as we can.
right.
And so I think that it contributes so much. And then there's the whole group aspect, the team building and stuff like that. It's just vital. It's just vital. to do that. But having confidence in your body, I didn't have that. I did not have that at all. I was not confident and physically was not confident. I didn't like walking into a room and people turning around and looking at me. I was just very self-conscious.
Do you think I do like that?
No, I think you just stride right in. You're tall and you wear. I can't believe as a young person, I never would have worn real high heels if I was really tall. And you just own it. Just own it, being tall and walking through. Of course, I am tall. I am 5'7".
Not in this family.
I know
Well,
in our family I'm short, but I'm tall for my
for
generation.
you, yeah,
And
you're
I now with more than 20 years of yoga and age, I am very aware of my posture,
hmm
and other people my age don't have that. And I'm
hmm
proud of it that I have good posture. But I think I probably slumped when I was young.
to hide.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think girls who play sports, and if you play volleyball, you're in short shorts all the time. So you better be okay
Don't
with
get
your
me
body.
started on the uniforms. That's a whole nother podcast,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's really no strategic advantage to wearing those.
No.
So, no. If we take that question, what sports provided, for me, but we like break it into our family. Um, you didn't have this athletic background. You weren't a competitive person, and then you birthed two like super competitive children, and you married a very competitive man. And we had lots of late nights and late dinners and breakfast for dinner. Like those are things that I remember going to Straw Hat Pizza with other families after games. Like it really served as a social entity for us as well. Like so many of your really good friends are from Little League and you guys still meet each year for lunch. Like socially for you, being plopped into this very athletic family. What did that do for your social circle and for your confidence in like, well, my whole family's going to get out there and roller skate. I better go. Like, how did it affect you?
I think I made a decision early on to join in.
Hmm
Watching your dad, and he taught me so much. He taught me about the games. He taught me how to keep score, and I taught you. And so you can't watch a little league game if you're a scorekeeper and not know exactly what's going on. Of course, we didn't always agree. I didn't like to give the kids errors. I'd say it's too hot to handle,
CHCH.
THCH in the book. And then he'd go over the book afterwards. Oh, that's an error. And no, no, it's not. That kid couldn't
There's
have
no
caught
way
it
that kid could
as
make that
a
play.
lenient scorekeeper.
You're an
But
angel grader, just like me.
so that I was willing to do that. I think your dad would say he really appreciated that I
Yeah.
jumped right in, because for a long time that was our social life, was you kids in sports.
Yeah.
And we still have friends through that.
hmm
And and then I coached, and dad stayed out of soccer, and that was my thing. Soccer
Yeah.
was my thing. And I appreciated that. He did do some basketball. He did girls softball. He coached, and little league he did for years.
Yeah. He
And
coached Michael for a long time.
and he also played as much as he could.
Yeah. But that's an interesting perspective if, you aren't if you're not super athletic, coordinated, whatever, you didn't have the opportunity to play growing up. That never changes your ability to learn about the game and how the
Exactly.
game is played. And when you learn about it, that's what's so great about scoring, right? Because it helps you learn about the game, you can appreciate then the competition of the game and the intricacies of a game and what make it so unique. And I'm partial to baseball, but when somebody doesn't really know baseball when they're like, oh, nobody's scored. This is so boring, and I'm like, what? It's a pitcher's duel. Like that's the best situation possible. So you always educated yourself about the games that we played so we could have conversations.
That gave me confidence too, that I actually was a really good scorekeeper, and they asked me to do tournaments when the teams moved on. I got to keep the book for the tournaments and up in the booth. And so
Yeah.
that's a good feeling that somebody feels you're confident in that. And then in high school, I kept the book for volleyball.
Yeah.
The coach wanted me to do that. So
Hmm.
um, then you feel like you're part of the team. You feel like you're contributing. So,
Well, it also very much played a role in my career where, my colleagues were beat writers, mostly male. And there was definitely a stigma that because I was female, I didn't understand the game as well as they did. And I look back thinking how much more I actually touched a baseball field than any of those writers did. So I actually did play my whole life growing up, but there's nothing can take away the chance to have equality in a game mentally and understand the game. There's no inequalities there. And that's something that women really need to remember when they're working in the sports industry is don't let the mental side of a game become an inequality because you can understand it just as well as anybody
yes,
else.
yes.
And yeah. So I want to give attention to this organization that I'm in with my mom. It's called AAUW, which stands for American Association of University Women. And I recently joined, I've been around it my entire life, but I finally had some time to join. And I just want to hand it over to you, Mom, to kind of explain what AUW does if people don't know about it, and specifically how it supports equality for girls in sports and beyond.
Okay, AAW began in 1881 and it was focused on education for women. And it wasn't seen as appropriate for women to learn more than reading, writing, and cooking and sewing, I guess. And there was some research that came out that said, this is going to sound really crazy and archaic, but it was true, that if women went on to higher education, the blood would go to the brain instead of the reproductive organs. So it would cause
Oh no.
problems with families. Of course, that was debunked. And so the first goal was for women to become educated and have opportunities to
Hmm.
become educated. Later, it was to get the vote and then to be able to work. And of course, there was no real birth control, but to have some kind of control over how many children they gave birth to. Um, and then we were on the forefront of getting women into leadership roles. And one that would, besides the vote, that people would recognize is Title IX. And I actually wrote down the very short wording of Title IX. It's no person in the U.S. shall, on basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. There's nothing about sports in there,
Right.
but that's what it took on. That was one area. Like I said, all the tax money went to the boys' sports, and
Hmm.
nothing for girls.
Hmm.
That was an area that became real relevant. I want to be really clear here that with the dismantling of the federal educational department, which is happening now, who will reinforce that?
Hmm.
Who will enforce it when it's being dismantled at the state level?
Right.
Living in California, there are some state requirements, there's Prop 209 and things like that, that will probably keep it pretty strong here. But there's many
Not in
states
other
that
states.
don't have that on the books. So if there's no federal monitoring of this, it will be gone.
Right.
And
Yeah, it'll
so it's
crumble.
really important. And AAW not only campaigned for that, but they were at the signing in the Oval Office for Title IX.
So that's a great segue into this question, which is, and the whole reason I wanted to have you on is how quickly those of us who are Title IX babies and the generations after me forget that there was ever an issue, right? Because we're playing and we're voting and we can get a credit card without a man
Yeah.
signing for us. And as you're mentioning, those are being chipped away at. All of those rights are being chipped away at. And I remember telling you in one of my classes at Sonoma State, I asked the class if they knew what Title IX was, and not one person raised their hand. So, what is your best piece of advice to pass along to girls and women today who take the opportunity to vote, to play sports, to get credit, to get money, all of that? They take it for granted.
First of all, register to vote as soon as you can. You can actually register to vote when you are 17 if you will turn 18 before the
The
election.
election.
Vote. And AAW actually has a site that you can go to. Number one, AAW is nonpartisan. You do not have to be Democrat, Republican, Independent. It is nonpartisan. It doesn't support candidates necessarily. It supports issues
Issues.
and the issues that affect the equality of women. And when it used to be education, now look at education. There's more women in college than men. It's that mission has melted into the workplace, equality in the workplace. Average women make 80% of what men do. And if you're a woman of color, you make much less.
Mm-hmm.
Native American, it's 58% what they make. So those things are things that AAW supports. It's real important to exercise your vote. And AAW has a list of people who are in office and how they vote on issues.
Mm-hmm.
And they do like an AAW report card.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll mark particular legislators and if they voted for our mission, our particular issue or not. So you can take a look at that. You may not agree with everything that AAW supports. They definitely support reproductive rights, but there are many women that don't. So you can take what you want from it, but
Mm-hmm.
be vocal. Write your congressperson. Go to marches.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Be
be like be
known,
aware. Be aware,
aware. And
you
people would
know?
say, "Oh, we'll never lose that." They ever hear of Roe v. Wade? That was another thing we supported. It's
Yeah,
gone. Roe v.
gone.
Wade is gone. It's amazing to me how much work we've put in to get these things
Well, you saw
passed.
it enacted and you saw it taken away. I mean, that
Yes,
in
and I
your
saw
lifetime.
the young lawyer who went to the Supreme Court with it. She was much older than I saw her speak at a conference, and it was just thrilling for me. And she
Yeah.
talked all about going into the chambers and how awesome they were. She was only in her 20s, and it was really impressive to me.
Hmm.
And getting women in leadership roles and also supporting education
Hmm.
and making sure people know what their rights are
Hmm.
and what rights are being taken away.
Hmm.
It's really incredibly important.
All right, last question. If you could have played a sport,
Uh,
what would it have been?
I didn't have any skills because I didn't grow up learning.
I know, we
I
know
had one
that.
little
Now let
took
that
a
go.
spike.
You're the most athletic person on the planet. What sport do you play?
I probably would play soccer because I don't. I don't know. Maybe I would have been more intrepid, but I don't think I'd want to slide. Like baseball, I could always hit a ball. I was really good eye-hand coordinated. I could hit it. Didn't go very far,
I
but
mean,
I
really
couldn't
good is a
catch.
big statement, Mom.
I
Really
couldn't
good.
catch, I couldn't backhand catch, and I wouldn't want to slide. I don't think so. Maybe soccer,
Soccer?
maybe, but sports I
Defender?
enjoy watching. I love baseball.
Yeah. Do you think you would have been like a forward, a wing in soccer and not a defender? Because you got to challenge people.
Probably forward. Right now, I think, gosh, I couldn't run that much, but back then I could have, I guess.
All
Yeah,
right.
probably soccer. And it's very team oriented, and I like that you pass it and work together.
Yeah.
And Yeah, probably soccer.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
But
Mom, the soccer player.
nobody will want me.
I'll take you. We'll hide you somewhere on the field. I've got you. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed meeting my mom, and I really appreciate your time and educating people on, what the truth is about uh, going, through this journey of change, and that there has been change, and we see it with you, and it's really, really important to know the progress that's been made, but even more important to know that it can be taken away at any moment, and there's still so much more to do. But your knowledge is invaluable for people, and now it will live forever because you've been recorded. This is your
Okay.
legacy.
All right.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, honey.